Hi everyone, in this video we're going to show you how to set up your Chromajet Professional Food Airbrush System. Now with every box you'll actually get the user manual, you'll get a set of 12 10mm Chromacake airbrush liquids, and of course you'll get the Chromajet machine, including a few other extras as well, the gun and cradle for holding your gun. Now the first thing we do is you have to open up the hose. So the hose is very important. It's what allows the liquid to seep through and spray. Now the first thing you want to do is actually take your hose. Once you've unwrapped it and untangled it, we need to actually insert the first end into the side of the Chromajet system. Now you will see the plug there, and it's just a matter of using a little force and just slowly sort of wedging it in. I mean, you'll sort of feel once it's quite tight, because when it is, it's very hard to remove. Now the other end of the hose will have to actually be inserted into the bottom of the airbrush gun. Now once you take that out of the packet, you'll notice the hose outlet is at the bottom, and you just pretty much twist it until it just tightly gets on there, and you'll know when that occurs because it won't come out at all. It's very tight. In the box you'll notice a little tool. What this is actually a gun cradle, and it helps you rest your gun while you're not using or you're in between doing things. So in order to put that in, you just click it in like so from under the Chromajet, and your gun pretty much rests in its cradle like so. Nice and easy, and it is optional, but you do receive it in the box. Before we actually start spraying, we need to test a little bit of the spray. So we'll get ourselves a plate with a paper towel on top, and that way we can start testing. Now what we need to do next is actually prepare for spraying. And what we need to do is actually fill up our gun compartment with airbrush liquid. So what we need to do is pick up our airbrush gun, open up the top compartment like so, and while having that open, get yourself the liquid. So whichever color that you're working with, it doesn't really matter. In this case, we're just going to try some blue. So open your liquid up and just squeeze in just a few millimeters of liquid to begin with. You don't want to put too much in. Once that's done, close up your bottle and then just close the cap again on the gun. When you close the cap, just make sure that it's clicked in or tight. It doesn't actually screw on, it actually clicks. Well, you screw then click, so it's just sort of just turn it so it's just tight, that's all. Once that's done, you're ready to do some testing. What we've now done is turned the power on from the wall to the machine. You will notice a red light, which indicates that there is power to the Chromajet. What we'll do is just, for now, is just press the power button just to show you what happens. When you turn it on, you'll notice a green light. If you notice the Chromajet moving around, or because of the vibration, we'll need to place it in a plate or some form of tray, etc., so it doesn't move. What we did was we actually put the machine on another plate, just so when it turns on, there is a the machine does vibrate a little bit, so it could actually start moving, just like your washing machines. But in this case, we put it on a plate just to sort of keep it in place while you're doing your work. Alright, so let's turn the machine on. And as you notice on max, so if you actually press the mode button too quick, you actually see the speed is actually, or the pressure is reducing. So whichever mode setting you prefer, just leave it on that. And again, it comes down to testing. So take your gun, and you'll notice there's a trigger right there in the middle. And what you do is you put your finger on that and push a little backward. That's it, and you see colour being dispersed. Now again, it all depends on how much strength you need. If you need a little more pressure, you can turn the press mode, and that'll put it back up to the highest speed. And as you can see, it's extruding, well, it's dispersing a lot more liquid. So it depends on how much liquid you want. And once you've gotten to the point where you're happy with that, you can leave it at that setting. Now if you want a more wider spray instead of a more finer spray, you just adjust. There's a little knob on the bottom, and you can actually twist that to make it looser, or a little loose, so then the trigger actually can actually be pressed back a lot more, which will actually create a wider area, so you can spray your cakes, etc., and not just your finer details. If you want a little more finer detail, then you just tighten it up a little more until you get that right setting. Again, we're using Chromacake liquids, so it's extremely vivid. With the end cap, turning it clockwise will actually stop your flow or limit it completely, so when you press it, nothing will come out. So you'd sort of turn it anti-clockwise as much as you want, depending on the amount of spray you need. So the more you turn it anti-clockwise, the more flow you'll actually be able to achieve. And this, of course, depends on your requirements. And eventually you'll get the hang of the flow that you need in order to cover your cakes, etc. Really well, or your whatever product you're working with. What we're going to be doing now is actually spraying the outer surface of a test cake. So what we've done is we've actually got a Lazy Susan on the bottom, which allows you to rotate the cake evenly while you're spraying. We've used some paper towels again, just so things don't obviously spray onto your surface, and it keeps it nice and clean. We'll be first using some Chromajet inks, and we're going to be using the blue again. So we're going to turn on the machine, and we're going to set it down to the lowest setting, test and do it, just do a few sprays just to give it a go. As you can see, it's a fine spray. Once again, you can actually adjust this using the knob on the rear. So remember, anti-clockwise will actually widen your spray, your flow. And you can deepen your colour as much as you like. Obviously in this case it's just for testing purposes, but obviously depending on the result that you're trying to achieve, you can really get it looking extremely vivid. When you're spraying edges, you can actually do a wider flow, so increase the nozzle on the back of the gun in order to have a little more flow. Again, it's all about practice. So in this case, it's just about testing. You can fill in lighter spots as you go, or you could really go maximum, colour the entire cake in a few sort of movements. But in this case, we're sort of taking our time to really get it nice and coloured. There's no need to over-colour as well, so once you sort of cover an entire colour, there's no need to keep on going over it unless you want a much darker tone.
but as far as finishes go, that looks great.
Once we finish spraying, we need to clean out the liquid compartment of the gun. So very simply, we fill up the compartment with water, and then once we do fill up water, we basically just empty it out until there's no coloured liquid left. And then right at the end, we close the cap up with water inside and spray out the water on a plate or a paper towel until you see no colour left. This only takes a few minutes, and once you actually see clear, well, just water pretty much, then you're ready to refill the gun with your next colour or to dry and pack away. Make sure that the liquid compartment is dry. You can use a paper towel for this and the lid, and then replace the lid back onto the liquid compartment where you can place the gun back into its holder.
So this time around we're going to be taking green Chromacake liquid. Open up the compartment again, and just a small amount. Close your compartment, then we're pretty much good to go again. If you need to, just practice on a paper towel just to sort of see if flow does come out. When you do change colours, just don't spray directly immediately onto a cake. First test it and then start with your surface after that. So we want to do a finer type line because we're trying to do stripes on this cake. So we're just leaving it on minimum, so which is the least of the pressures or speed, whatever you want to call it. And here we go. So just keep it a fine line as much as you can. As you can see, it's a lot easier to sort of get there or to do the detail when you sort of have your pressure down.
Once you've finished spraying your surface or top layer, you can then continue on and start doing the sides of your cake or whatever you're spraying really. And it's just a matter of turning the cake around and spraying the sides. Again, you can adjust the flow using both either the speed setting on the machine itself, on the Chromajet, or you can actually turn the knob on the gun itself in order to either widen the flow or make the flow a lot more finer. We just wanted to point out one thing, and that's the operator who's actually assisting us in making this demonstration. It's actually her first time ever in airbrushing. She's never airbrushed before. So it goes to show that even with the first time, the Chromajet can be so easy to use and not daunting in any way. Once you've done 1 or 2 test runs, you're pretty much good to go, and eventually you'll notice that you'll become quite a bit of an expert at airbrushing.
Next we've filled up a little red into our compartment. That's the next colour we want to do. We're trying to just have a simple rainbow effect on this particular surface, or this fondant. And away we go again with the red. Again, Chromacake colour is extremely vivid, so if you're after that vivid effect, these are the liquids that you really need. They're amazing. Again, this is a test primarily to show colours. not our airbrushing skill. So please excuse our expertise in airbrushing itself. Our expertise is formulating liquids and powders. Finally, we're going to be using the yellow color now, just to finish off the experiment, or the testing of this particular cake or fondant surface. Once again, just pour in a small amount. So we've turned on the machine again, and we're going to be doing the yellow. So away we go. Again, very easy to do. So we go back down to minimum. Again, we've got it on the finer mist, or the fine detail. But if we did want a wider sort of flow, we just increase the nozzle at the back of the gun, and that'll give us a lot more of a, or wider spray to cover more area at once. Now the Chromacake airbrush collection, or the range, comes in 12 colours. We're only using 4 of those 12, just to provide a demo, but you can find all of those on our website, all 12 colours. And if you buy the Chromajet Air Brush System, you actually get the entire 12 with the package, so 10ml bottles.
Once we've finished all our airbrushing, we moved the cake to a plate, and finally done. Looks good.